Okay, well, I wanted to make this final point, and then, well, I wanted to make 2 points here, actually, okay? First one, that lady who asked him a question about Dreamers, about DACA, I believe that was to Joe Biden, the Dave Madden lady. You know, this is one thing I was just thinking about the other day, because I just watched Vampires in the Bronx on Netflix. Did you see it yet, Quarterback?
No,
It
was to Trump.
Yeah, was it to Donald Trump?
Donald Trump.
It was.
Was it the Dave Madden lady, or am I thinking she asked a different question? Oh, no, wait, that's right. It was Dave Madden to him, and then he was talking about the difference between Dreamer. Sorry, I was thinking about Dreamers and DACA. She conflated the two because Dave Madden does.
Anyways.
So, Vampires in the Bronx, which, by the way, you want to talk about a negative stereotype, like black.
Oh, that was good.
It's not that I don't think that they can just take white films and put in black people. It's that I think that black Americans deserve better than, hey, Fright Night with black people. That's what Vampires in the Bronx is. But it's basically about vampires, but it's effectively one big analogy, right, for gentrification. And they complain about gentrification. And they talk about this, and this lady was I don't remember exactly what triggered it for me, but she was, and I mean that in the actual way, not in trigger warning, asking about DACA and Dreamers.
DACA is somewhat different than Dreamers. You understand that, and you understand it better than anybody probably in this room. Where do you come from, by the way, originally? Where?
My grandparents were from Russia and Poland.
That's very good. Okay.
Hold on a second. When people complain about gentrification, what they're primarily complaining about is white people obviously moving into an area. This is what they say in Vampires in the Bronx. They say when white people move in, and then we get priced out. Are you sure that was always an entirely black neighborhood? And that's what triggered it. She said she was a Russian immigrant because guess what? Hamtramck, before you heard the Muslim call to prayer, as you do now in Michigan, look it up. It's one place in the United States where you can hear the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day, was a Polish neighborhood. Many areas of Brooklyn or the Bronx were Polish, were Italian, were Irish. And then they moved away, and black people moved into that neighborhood and gentrified it when the Polish and the Irish moved out. So this idea that gentrification only occurs when white people move in now. Well, hold on a second. Did you gentrify it when that area, let's say Hamtramck, all of a sudden the Poles are no longer there, the Polacks. And by the way, we can say that. It's not even considered a slur, despite the fact that it's very offensive. This is something we never... Now, here's one thing. I think the main difference as to why is when you look at a lot of these groups of people, and again, these are people who were all very oppressed, right? People who came across on ships, people who were absolutely... There was prejudice against the Irish, against Jews, of course. The Lower East Side, Alphabet City, was by and large Jews. You want to say they weren't discriminated against? Even in World War II, a lot of Americans didn't like Jews despite the fact that we fought against Hitler. A lot of people don't know that. Read some documents from Henry Ford, his private letters, for crying out loud. Well, what happened is then the Jews often would work their way up, and then they moved to the Upper West Side. Now, that's considered a very Jewish area. This is the first time, because gentrification is actually a problem right now of people who want to stay in neighborhoods regardless of pricing, regardless of economic output, regardless of what they're contributing to that neighborhood, and they want people who would like to move into that neighborhood and to help it be punished, not be allowed to. This is the first step. Gentrification now is a byproduct of people who want legislation to preserve a neighborhood rather than let the American racial melting pot occur organically. And it's amazing to me when people say gentrification. I was watching Vampire in the Bronx. Are you sure that you don't live in some dirty old Pollock's house? Are you sure that that area was always entirely black and we need to blame white people for coming in and wanting to set up a nut butter shop?
Watch Good Morning Mug Club live every Monday through Thursday at 10:15 Eastern.